Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining me for a craft night with friends. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for beginners. And I'm here every weeknight, Monday through Friday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. And it's a time that we can relax and craft together. So it's the last week in September here, and on the last weeks of the month, that's sort of our free week. Yesterday and the day before, we worked on the Blended Sampler 2 quilt blocks. Tonight, we are going to start the quilt as you go process for our ABC quilt blocks. So it's been a long time since I've done this sort of thing. So we're going to figure it out. I'm going to see what supplies I got here, and we're going to start cutting and sewing these guys together to actually form them into a quilt. So they've already been pre-quilted, like, we already have, the fronts and backs and batting. We already have that for each of the letters that we have done so far. We're not completely done, with the alphabet yet, but, we are gonna now cut those up and then, assemble them together. So we've already kinda, like, pre-quilted the quilt. We just need to assemble the pieces, and that is called the quilt as you go process. So we're gonna start that up tonight. Alright, you guys, let's get going. Okay, so I got the sewing machine here and everything going tonight. So here's my stack of ABCs. We're not done with the pig. We don't have the quilted. We haven't quilted the pig or the owl yet, but everything before that we do have quilted. So we don't need these guys around right now. We'll quilt these once we get like one or two more done, like next month. So, which is going to be next week already. So next week we will do the quail, which is our letter Q, QR, and then raccoon will be the week after that. So quail, raccoon will be week 1 and week 2 of October. Um, and once we get those done, if those go fast enough, we'll quilt all four of the finished ones at that point. So anyway, we got our whole alphabet here, and what we are going to want to do, we're going to eventually actually cut these down to 8.5 inches. Ultimately, there'll be 8 inches in the quilt. It's much larger than 8 inches now. I've kind of drawn out. Here's my little my guide here. I can kind of frame our piece. That'll help us tonight. But then we're gonna assemble it. I think this is what I'm looking for here. I got 2 bins for this project. Hi, it's going though. So, okay, I think this is just all my extra fabric and finished patterns, but this is what I wanted to get out of here. So this is kind of my template that I've been using for this. And this is so we know what goes where, and this is where it's gonna start coming in. And I think I'm gonna just start at the beginning with A and B. I don't have the corner blocks done, so you can see that the ABC line, it starts with just a blank block and another blank block. So the 4 corners are just decorative blocks that we can do whatever. Here's the pattern I'm going to be doing. So I'm not going to worry about those. And the nice thing about quilt as you go is I don't need to worry about those yet. I can actually start right at the A. So I'm going to put the A and B together, or we're going to start that process. And I know we're doing quilt as you go for the Blended Sampler 2 quilt, but that one we're going to do a little bit differently. So this will be new for me doing this one. So let's grab A and B way at the bottom here. So what we're going to need, first of all, they go this way. So we're going to cut these down to 8.5 inches. But then we're gonna need a sashing piece, so this will be for the front. Oh, I think I'm remembering what the plan for this now. I think I need to cut back pieces yet. So we're gonna have a sashing piece for the front, and I just have a whole pile of random pieces. That's what's gonna be for the front. And we may have to assemble more of these together. And then we also need a sashing piece for the back. So again, this is already quilted, but we're gonna need a piece for the back. And I was gonna try and do this fabric for the back so it all kind of blend together. Although now I think this would be kind of pretty just doing more like cute sashing. I don't know, should we do that? Should we do, like, just other cute little colors like these? That might be cute. I kinda like that. I think I have so much of this fabric yet, so I think that might be a good idea. Oh, you guys don't hear any sound? Oh, Debbie, you have sound. Okay, good. Okay, Christy, it sounds like other people have sound. Okay, good. I can see the thing on my mic like it's working. So okay, good. Phew, scared me. All right. I'm kind of thinking about changing my mind. I might go with all these strips, which is going to make it easier because I have them available already. So I think the first thing let's do is cut out these into 8.5-inch squares. So I do have my little guide here, and I think I'm gonna actually use that to help us right at the beginning here, and then I'll take the real ruler and mark it. Um, but let's get a water-soluble marker. So I think my goal is to have, like, the characters sort of centered, but I'm just gonna totally eyeball it. I don't think it has to be perfect. Like, I'm not gonna line up, like, all the letters or anything like that. I'm gonna just, like, keep the character centered. So I'm gonna just kinda plop this on here like so. I think that looks pretty good. And I think I'm gonna just mark the corners here. That's just gonna help me. We're gonna use a real ruler to cut this. So these lines might be adjusted, but this is gonna just help me once I get the ruler out to kind of know where we want to be going. Okay, so that's that one. Let's do the letter A as well. I like standing up for this so I can kind of look down on it. Look at all this fun quilting. Okay, and just so you guys know, I'm also on baby alert news. There is no baby yet, you guys. So, um, he's been there a long time. We're at 24 hours right now. So, and no baby yet. So, uh, if I leave all of a sudden, uh, this is my sister-in-law, so, if I leave all of a sudden, that might be why. If I'm looking at we have a family Discord, and, if anything pops up in there, I'll have to go, but still TBD on that. Alright. So, let's start with this guy. This is the scary part, though, because 'cause we're gonna be actually cutting into these. Alright, I'm gonna get my nice ruler here. Ooh, we get to test our kind of nice new ruler that we haven't used all that much yet. So 8.5 inches. Let's just check first of all, just to double check that this was actually 8.5 inches. I think it looks pretty good. Like I'm lining up the blue lines I just did, and it's 8.5. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of line up the blue lines. Um, I'm gonna assume we just did well on our centering there, so I'm not gonna even bother looking at this. And I'm gonna cut the first two sides and then I'll rotate the whole piece and cut the other two, and that will be like our first 8.5-inch situation here. Ooh, it's scary, but it's gonna be fun. So, all right, let's get my cutting glove and rotary cutter here. Oh my god, so scared. So 8.5 inches. These are gonna end up being 8 inches once they're completely sewn in the quilt. Oh my god, we're doing it. We haven't worked on this part of the project yet at all, so this is new. Like we're gonna have all these fun scraps. All right, it's gonna look immediately like cleaned up and pretty though, which will be fun. That's one neat thing about trimming. So now I'm gonna really look at that 8.5. So I didn't that first cut. I was just to get the first 90 degree, but now I'm going to line everything up just perfect. 8.5 inches. This ruler is awesome though. It has all these little cross marks for at like by the eighth inch, which is great. Not all rulers do that, that's for sure. Okay, 8.5, 8.5. Let's do it. Okay, there we are. We got first, our first guy cut out here. It's so cute. So I'm gonna cut the letter B out quick, but just out of curiosity, I wonder how long these pieces are. Oh, perfect. They are perfectly long. In my head, I was thinking I'd have to like assemble a bunch of these together. But I was looking at like the big piece. So if it was the big piece, I would have to assemble, but I forgot that we're cutting it down. So this is great. And it's okay if it hangs over a little bit too. That's gonna be totally fine. Ooh, and I think I should use this piece because this is actually has the same alligator on. I mean, he'll mostly get cut off, but still, that's kind of funny. So this is actually from I think my first fabric collection, and that was based on the ABC patterns there. So all right, great. And then here's the back. Awesome. So we'll actually need two pieces. So I'm gonna just pick two, and I want this to be kind of like random and fun. Okay, I'm a little scared about this selvage at the bottom, but I think we'll be fine. Okay, those are gonna be our two pieces, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's cut out the letter B. Okay, let's get our glove on again, and at 8 inches. 8.5 inches, actually. Don't wanna mess that up. That'd be a real problem. I don't know what we'd do. I don't think I'd restitch it. I'd probably just try and oh god, maybe I would have to restitch it. Nah, that'd be horrible. I'd probably try and, like, put some I don't know, extra fabric on there somehow. I don't know what I would do. So we're gonna be real careful to get these 8.5 inches right so I don't have to, like, redo a mistake. It just crops it up all nice. It's cute. All right. 8.5. There. Rotate a bit more. Working in my small little space again. Did I get all this? Yeah, good. I haven't changed this blade in a while, and I'm wondering if I might need to soon. All right, look at all these little scraps though from the edges. I don't know if we'll do anything with those or not. Set them aside for now. Okay, so that is it for that part of the project. At least for these letters. So let's just kind of go over what's next. So here's our first two letters. So again, there will be one block over here eventually, and we'll have the rest of the alphabet. Here's the A and the B. Um, the next part of the Quilt as you go process. Now, this is what's going to be different than how we did the Quilt as you go process on the Splendid Sampler 2 quilt. On that one, we actually have to make a binding piece where we take a bigger piece than this, and like this is 1 inch wide. We would take like a 1.5 inch wide and then fold it in half to make this binding. We're gonna do something different. I did watch a video on doing it this way, and we're gonna give it a go. And why is because first of all, just to try it in a different way, but this way allowed us to like just cut the same size strips. So technically what you want here for how I'm doing this is a 1 inch strip. We have two 1 inch strips, wide strips. And theoretically, they should be the same height as our block, 8.5 inches. Ours are just whatever they ended up being. I don't know where we got these cuts. It looks like they were already kind of cut funny, like originally somehow. Like I think these were sample pieces that I got. So they happen to be about this length already, and we just cut them to 1 inch. But they're a little over the 8.5 inches, but I'm gonna just let that be. That's not gonna really affect us at this point. It actually might help if we make a mistake or something. I can just like shimmy sham them. So what we're gonna do is, ooh, gosh, let's make sure I'm in alphabetical order here. I'm gonna start with the letter A. And, ooh, I wanted this guy on the front. So this guy's gonna go just on the front like so. And then on the back, right, so right sides together on the back, we are going to put that on there. So let me just grab some clips just so we can take a look at how this is gonna work. And it's probably not a bad idea to clip these together anyway. Oop. Especially since it's squishy and poofy, so because of the batting, so some extra, and it's like a zillion layers here. We got the sandwich quilt, so that's the front of the quilt, the back of the quilt, and batting, and then these two pieces. So we got like 5 layers here. So I guess not a bad idea to make sure they're clipped together. And this is all new to me, this particular way of doing this. So bear with me if I a full on stop and my brain has to think something through. But I think my brain has to load again. But I think this is right. So um, yeah, eventually that will be like that. Okay, so that's what we should have. We should have our 3 pieces together, right sides together on this side, so that when we fold it back, it'll be good. And then also right sides together on this side. That is the deal. Okay, and then if you have been working on that other Quilt As You Go project, the Splendid Sampler 2, you'll notice that um, we don't have a folded edge here anymore. That's gonna be the thing that's different. We're actually gonna just try and tuck it underneath, and so it's gonna be different for us, but we're giving it a try. If it doesn't work on this first one, we can always do it differently. But all right, so we're starting with this. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna sew along that edge with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I have our some bright orange thread on here still. I think it'll be good. So I'm gonna do that right now. Yep, there we go. Oh, got my little protecting guide in there. There we go. Oh, I can't believe we're finally assembling this quilt. So obviously we're not assembling a lot of it, but we are starting the process. All we've been doing is trying to get the quilting done on these blocks. We haven't actually started assembling it yet. So it's gonna be kind of fun. And I got some leaders and enders here that we can get started with right away too, which is great. Boop. Dark and a light. This is just to get the guy off the machine here. All right, let's grab a scissors. Okay. So this is what we have now. We are sewn together. And what we want to do now is press just the top one over. So this bottom one is going to stay where it's at, but this top one we want to press over. So I'm going to grab ironing mat here. Actually, we can just press the whole thing first. I think my iron's hot. So we'll just press, kind of like set the seam there. I'm gonna go flip it this way. And then press it over. His little eyeballs are sticking out here. Okay. Next step. I have a little like there's a little like bit of the giraffe like trace down here. We must have been trying something out down here. So we'll erase that with some water soluble marker at some point, or with some water at some point. All right, piece number 2. So again, right now we have our one piece pressed open, and then this guy is still pressed the other way. So we haven't done anything with that. So we have like one side flipped and one side not right now. All right, so we'll set that down. And now I'm going to put this guy right sides together. So make sure it's in the right order, A, B, and it's right side up, and then flip it so it's right sides together. And we are gonna match just that one layer, so that one strip, just the top strip that we pressed. We're gonna match that up with this edge of the butterfly. But we also wanna make sure that these edges are matched up just so everything, just so our quilt is straight, our row is straight. So I'm definitely gonna clip these. Okay, so let's sew along that line. Ooh, lift this up a little bit. That's a pretty big jump. Along stiletto. There we go. A little bunchy, but I think we're good. All right, and let's get the other side of our little Asper triangle here. Okay, there we go. Snip. And now when we open this up, we have our two pieces, A and B, with our sashing in the middle. So we're totally starting to assemble this guy, which is crazy. It's so cute already. I love it. So we'll press this, but the next bit, you can see here on the back, we still have this raw edge. That's when we're gonna flip this over, and we're actually gonna kind of roll the edge a little bit, and we are gonna try and press it to be uh, ultimately a half inch. So we're just gonna like roll it over a teeny bit. And this is the part that's different than the other way of doing it, where we had that like full binding strip, so we didn't have to tuck anything under. It was already like pre-tucked under. This is a different way of doing it. I thought we'd give it a try. Again, the benefit to this is I can cut all my sashing pieces the same size, which is nice. And I don't have to iron all those binding pieces in half, but this is kind of the general idea. We're not doing this quite yet, but we'll be tucking under the edge, pressing it, and then we'll be sewing along the edge here. So we can either sew with like hand stitch this down, hand stitch the binding down. I think I'm gonna just sew over the top of it. Well, I'm not positive on that yet. I guess originally I wanted to hand sew that. So we might still do hand sewn for that. But we'll press it right away. Let's see. I don't know. The benefit of hand sewing it is, first of all, I like doing it. So I can like get all those like pretty little stitches. Um, but the second reason for hand sewing it is that you can get just this one side. If we actually physically sew, that whole line is going to come up on the other side here, and I don't really want to do that. So I think we'll probably hand stitch it. I'm good with that. So I actually might not even do that tonight. I might just try and put the like letter C on this as well, and then maybe I just like press, and then pin this. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm gonna finish this side by just pressing it, and then we'll flip it over and kind of press this side, and then we just do the same process for the letter C. And then remember, we gotta keep looking at our little design here. I only have A, B, C in the top row, and then D starts the next row. But anyway, let's give this a quick press. Quick press open. Doesn't really need it too much, but ugh, isn't it already cute? It is already freaking cute um, with that sashing piece in there. And I think I'm gonna like using the colorful pieces for the back. Originally, okay, now I'm pressing the back over. Originally, um, I was just gonna use the same fabric as the back, so it would look all this like yellow. But I don't know. I have all these pieces strips cut already, and it's cute. It's cute with just this. With it'll be like these yellow squares, and then this nice little sashing dividing it. Okay, we press that over. Kind of kind of wondering, do I do this now or wait till later? Jennifer says, sewing will wear better. This is hand stitch. I mean, there's so much hand stitching through all this anyway, like with the embroidery, that I'm not sure sewing it is gonna be bad or any better or worse or anything with the machine. I just don't like the idea that I um, might see the line on this side. So how we can avoid that is I could sew like stitch in the ditch right down here, but then I have to really get this matched up well so it doesn't like fall off the edge at all, like my sewing from the front. And I'm not too sure I'll be very good at that. So you know what I think I'm gonna do? I think I'm gonna hand sew this, or we can try a couple different ways. So why don't we get the letter C on here, and then we can try one that we sew, and then one that we hand sew. And actually, if we put the back piece on first, so the back actually looks like this, then we flip the front piece, like how I'm saying to do here. Like if this was the front, not the back, we could, stitch from the top, and I wouldn't care so much if we veered off this back. So we could do it that way, but I don't know. I just like the cleanliness of doing it by hand too. I don't know. I like it hand sewn. Jill says I would hand sew. Oh, Lisa says the blocks are gorgeous. You'd hand stitch too. Okay. I just enjoy hand stitching. I mean, it's gonna be a like a ton of stitching for this whole project, but I do enjoy it too. We'll see. So I think for now, I'm gonna leave this just raw. I did press it this way, but I still need to do that final press. But I'll wait till I'm like right ready to hand stitch that. So I think let's hand stitch. But you know what? If we get sick of that every once in a while, we do if we machine sew one of these every once in a while, who cares? That's fine with me. All right, let's move on to letter C, and then we basically have the first row done, except for our two corner pieces, which I don't even know what I'm going to do for those yet. So, but like after this, later in this week, we can do all these like bigger rows up until I guess we can only do the first two rows because we're not all the way through the third one. But we can attach the N, O, and P together. We just don't have Q and R yet. So man, we only have this much left to stitch though. Q through Z. That's it. So we've actually embroidered all these already. That's crazy. I will need to start thinking about what I want to do for the corners. Yeah, I really have no idea. It might be fun to just do big blocks of fabric that we quilt. Just some fun quilting. I can't think about that now. One thing at a time. Let's get the letter C out here, and I'm thinking it's bottom. Yep, there we go. Oh, cute kitty. I forgot about him. All right, here's our letter C, the cat. Our cute little cat there. Oh my god, this is so cute already. I'm freaking out. All right, let's cut first, one at a time. One thing at a time. I'm getting ahead of myself because this is just fun. All right, so let's grab our little template piece again. You don't need one of these. We just have it. I made one just because it's fun to see it framed up as we work on it. And it helps me know like where to quilt. And there's no lines on it right now because we stitched this way earlier than I had this piece to deal with. So, all right, let's center that again. Okay, I think that looks fine. I feel like I still have to stand while I do this. Okay, that's good. Oop. Well, that's true. Gina says it won't take that long. It's only 8 inches. Yeah, to stitch. That's true. And it's enjoyable. I do like it. It brings some I'm gonna backtrack on what my thought just was, but like it brings some I was gonna say it brings some hand stitching to a quilt, and I'm like, oh my god, this whole quilt is hand stitching. But whatever. Get my guy out. Oh, and my glove and rotary cutter. Phil says I love to hand stitch too. It just I don't know. It's like stitching on the binding. That's like my favorite part of a quilt. And I, get that same sensation from doing these little stashing pieces. Okay, 8.5. So we're making this quilt. We are going to um, sell it online here eventually when we're done with it. And the proceeds from that is going to go to the Minneapolis Crisis Nursery here. So there is a chance to own this when oh weird. Oh look, I have an 8.5 mark on this side, so I didn't really have to go 8.5 inches this way, but like I think this is gonna be less confusing for me. But they have it built into the other side. But again, I think this is gonna make me less confused. Okay. Um, but yeah, so we'll once we're completely done with this, it'll be auctioned off, and then the money from that will go to the Minneapolis Crisis Nursery. But I'm telling you, if you want this, John is already upset that because he's liking it so much, he's already upset that I'm gonna be selling it and auctioning it, basically. So he might he might be getting in that bidding war. So watch out. I don't know if he's really gonna do that, but he likes it. I'm like, I'm having fun making it. I don't need it. All right, we have letter C here. They're so cute. Okay. Oh, that was next. Let's pick another sashing fabric. So again, I got my handful of stuff here. I don't want to do red because I want this to feel all over the place. Like I want it to feel um like I even kind of drew that in here, like that the sashing is just kind of like fun and bright and kind of random. So let's take a purple. Oop. And let's maybe do one of these greens for the back. Ooh, that piece is too small. So some of these I may have to sew together eventually because like I said, I just kind of cut the 1 inch parts. I didn't cut them to length. So eventually we may actually have to do that. Oh, Jill says, so glad to see you using your cutting glove. I'm using mine too. I can't cut without it. I know I'm too freaked out to cut now without without my cutting glove. I really am. Like I get anxious. Okay, none of these green ones are look like they're 8 inches, so I guess we'll use so eventually we'll have to sew some of these together. I just never finished the process of, before we got here. So we'll do one of these red ones for the back. I think I have more in here too. I just grabbed this, but yeah, so we can sew some of those together. Like I said, didn't really get that far in the process yet. So this will be the back. So let's sew that to. He looks like he needs to be ironed. I'm gonna iron both of these quickly here. On them. You guys, my phone is not blowing up yet, so I don't think there's a baby yet. Oh, goodness. Poor Mel. All right, so here's the front piece. We are not sewing it to the the letter C yet. That'll be next. We gotta sew them to here first. So front piece and back piece. Lining up all them edges, and let's clip them again as well. And I'm trying to avoid this little weird seam or selvage edge. Again, this is all scrap fabric. I think it's from the samples of this original of the collection, like when we were getting it made. They're kind of like funny little. Oh, thanks, Jill. I appreciate it. Yes, thanks for all the likes and follows and shares. Definitely appreciate that. Ooh, and on that note, too, today and tomorrow are the last days for our 40% off kit sale. I know a lot of you guys have been taking advantage of that, and I thank you so much for that. There are a few left, some more than others. It'll say like the amount that are left on the thing. I know a lot of them are sold out. So what we're doing is we're switching over the fabrics in them starting in October. So all the ones we have now are we're trying to get rid of them before we switch them with the new fabric. Um, so that's what the sale is all about. And it's a fun, I mean, it's a nice time of year to start. Good time to get some if you want them for gifts or sewing up some holiday projects. They're on the like that pretty unbleached fabric. Actually, they're on the same fabric here. The kits, and we're switching it to a white fabric where you can see like the iron on the pattern lines better. That's the main deal. But yeah, so that ends tomorrow, like through tomorrow. And if you order during the live or like 15 minutes or so after the live, we will throw a free mystery gift into your order as well. That's our live viewer special. Looks the same on both sides. Okay. Oh, yeah. Trimmed. All right, let's press. Get him out of the way. All right. So I'm only pressing that top piece again. Press the set and then fold in that piece over. Oh no, Jill, that's me. Oh, Grace is hoping there's a baby soon. Long day for all. Yeah, yeah, and Mel hasn't like eaten since yesterday before they left, and oh god. But it sounds like they're in a good place with it. Last I heard, so that's good at least. For the nurses and doctors are saying it's how it's supposed to be going, so that's good. All right, so I'm lining up these edges again. Let's just double check. Yep, this is correct. Flip it over. I'm aligning it with this, the edge of my block with the edge of this new little fabric strip that we sewed on, but I'm also trying to make sure that the top and bottom are aligned. Okay, and let's clip these together. So remember, it's only the top sashing, the bottom sashing we left flipped the other way. And if you're new to quilting and all that, when I say sashing, that just means a strip of fabric. It's kind of like a border of a block, but on the inside of a quilt. So like all of these would be sashing pieces, whereas this whole thing on the outside would be a border. So sashing is like border for interior blocks, basically, is how I like thinking about it. Or it's like a divider between blocks. You can think about it that way too. Probably a little bit more accurate. All right, so this is so exciting. It feels like a quilt already too. Little. Help guide it. Lined up at the bottom, which is excellent. Here. Gotta work on this project too. Get this. I'm like making these little half square triangles. To get to help. With a leader and ender on a sewing machine, it just helps like not have a bunch of thread, and it so like when you're done sewing a row, you just sew a little piece of fabric on instead of sewing a little piece of fabric. I'm sewing an actual block for a different project, and it's all recycled clothing, and I want to make one of those quilt coats out of it. Oh, that's a long-term project for sure. But we get to work on it while we work on other projects, so it's kind of nice. All right, let's peek. What does this look like? There it is so far. Oh my god, you guys, it is so cute. Let me show you guys here. Ugh. So I'll flip it around to show you guys when we're done too. But it's looking so cute. And this is our top row. This is our ABC on the top row. Again, we'll have two ends, but I can put those on later, right? That's what's nice about it. This process is I can just kind of put those on whenever. I have to put them on before I sew the rows together, but like as long as I'm still blocks, I can add them whenever. So I'm gonna just keep going with the letters. So the next row will be D through H. So that'll be wider. Obviously, it'll have one more on each side. Ugh, this is gonna be cute though. It's gonna be a nice size too. It's gonna feel. I think it's gonna be like lap quilt size. It looks like. Well, we can actually figure that out. So this is 8 um, times 5. Ultimately, will be like 40 inches plus 1, 2. So about 42. Let's add a border. Let's call it 44 inches wide. So 48 inches would be 4 feet. So a little less than 4 feet wide, and I think it's going to be like about 5 feet tall or something. So that's a cute size. That'll be just the right size. I like it. All right, let's just kind of give this a little press. Just so it's nice and sharp. And, I have these edges on the top and bottom. I'm not even going to worry about that till later. Who cares? We'll snip those off when we have to sew rows together. Like, why bother? Okay, so now we got 2 back pieces here. And we could start hand stitching it tonight. I mean, why not, I suppose? Yeah, why not? So let me grab a needle, would be the name of what I'm trying to think of. Let's get this guy. I think I sewed it on with like the wrong fabric or the wrong thread. I have all those orange threads. So I have that slightly lighter one. I think I'm going to grab that off of, I'm going to grab that off of the other machine. There we go. So here's the actual thread I should have been using. Yeah, that's the one that matches. This is the thread for this project. So let's get that out. I got Zeb here So cute. It's been a while since we've seen him. Get my milliner's needle. I'm getting ahead of myself again because I have to press this still, but where is my milliner's needle? Probably time to get another one of those. There's a longer one, but that's not my favorite one. That's slightly scary that that's not in here. Oh, wait. Here it is, right on top. My little bendy needle is my favorite needle. Okay, I'm going to stick you right there so I can see you because we're actually not ready for that yet. I'll start with this one, this red one. I think it'll be easier to stitch without stuff everywhere. So let's press it over first. This is going to be the tricky part, is pressing it, holding it over basically. And you know what? I wonder if I should get some applique pins right away. Maybe. Let's do that. I don't want to like press this all nice and then like have it go away right away. I'm wondering if I do it this way, pressing will be easier, or I can still sit. That'd be nice. I'm just gonna I'm gonna just like roll over the edge, but I don't want it a lot. I have where we sewed on the front. I kind of have that seam as a guide, so I want to cover that up ideally. So I want to like fold this over just a little bit, and kind of get it like right like that. Like we're kind of making a bias strip almost by folding it over. So I'm just gonna kind of roll and fold as we go. So this might not be perfect, but it is on the back, so I don't care as much. I'm using that line as a guide. And since we're hand sewing, I can tuck things under a little bit more or less as I go. And again, this is the part that I'm doing differently than the Splendid Sampler 2 quilt. The back piece, this part on the Splendid Sampler 2 quilt, we did a little bit differently, so which makes us skip this step. But there's more like beginning steps, which makes it annoying. So we're trying something different. Just see what it's like. Okay, I think that looks good. Okay, like I said, I think I need to pin that down right away. Let's stick a pin in the middle and one at the end for my tiny little applique pins. Right there. Ooh, there, peace. And this guy too. Get it right at the end. Oh, look how sweet this looks already. I love it. I'm glad we went this direction. This wasn't my original plan to use these same strips, these same color strips that we are on the front. I wanted to use this background fabric, but it's too cute. Like, what helped me, what was part of that final decision, when we started today was if I put the yellow fabric or this background fabric here too, like the characters are never going to line up. So maybe it was going to look like a little bit weird. Whereas this, they all, they're separated. So it won't ever look like we're intending to line them up. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe that's a better way to go. All right, I'm going to zoom you guys way in. Let's see how that works. So bear with me. Don't get sick. There we go. Okay, so now you'll be able to see me stitch a little bit better on YouTube and Facebook, not on TikTok, unfortunately. So all right, this guy I'm just gonna scooch out of the way. Okay, Zeb, you are up. Grab my needle. So I like stitching. You know what? My quilting stuff would have worked really well for this too, like my quilt needles. But I've been using this milliner's needle, or straw needle. That's another name for it, which are just like extra long needles. You can barely see it here, and I believe this is like a size 10 or 11, which is really thin. And it's great for like needle turn applique and sewing on bindings, and it's just I like it. Applique has made it bend, but whatever, it still works. Get Zeb out of the way. Let's get some thread. I really only need it to be like a little bit longer than this 8 inches. There, good enough. Oop. This 8 inches. This is a nice length for this. Would it be easier for me to go? I think when I've done it in the past, I've gone this direction, but you could rotate this around. I don't know, just see what's comfortable. Is it if it's easier for you to like do this edge? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go, yeah, like this versus this way. Hmm. Actually, what do I think would be easier? I'm gonna go this way. It feels more like how I sew a binding on. I think the other way feels like how I do needle turn applique though, so I'm a little not sure of what way I want to do. But you know, another good reason to work on this. I can practice different ways. Okay, I'm gonna just make a little knot at the end here. Oh, Sheila's asking, where do I go to see the process of cutting out the batting and backing to match the actual embroidered block? Hmm. I'm not quite sure what you're asking for sure, but like here's one that we aren't done with that process. So these are, I think they're about 10.5 inch blocks. So way at the beginning of this project, it should all be grouped, I think, on YouTube, the videos, but it's a 10.5 inch square for the front, which is big. Like I've clearly cut it down a lot, but I thought that would just help me with all the sewing and stuff on it. Like if it's scrunched up, I'd have extra. So it made me feel better having, or if I didn't center the embroidery just perfectly, then I have a little wiggle room. So that's why I started out with a 10.5 inch square. So I have a 10.5 inch square on the front. We have a 10.5 inch square for our back fabric. And then, yeah, about a 10.5 inch batting piece. So that's, uh, and I kind of just roughly cut that as well. So all the edges are sort of whatever. They're not perfect, but it is generally 10.5 inches. And then we're cutting it down to 8.5 inches. And that's what we did tonight. We cut at the beginning of this video, we cut these down to 8.5 inches. And ultimately, it will be 8 inches once we've sewn it. So, like this length to here, this letter B, since it's been sewn on both sides, this should measure 8 inches at this point. If that, like, did that answer your question, Sheila? I'm not positive. Okay, let's get to the back here again. Okay, and I'm just gonna hold it like this. I think that'll work for me. And then I'm gonna just come up um, in the backing fabric. I don't know if you guys can see in the backing fabric and that fold. That's a little much, maybe close to the edge of the fold. There we are. So you can do a ladder stitch. I like kind of doing a whip stitch here. So or I don't know, is it called a whip stitch? I don't think it's called a whip stitch. I forget now. So all right, I'm gonna go right across the edge, so like perpendicular to the stitch I just did, or to like where I'm at. So just like I'm in the binding or the sashing piece and the back fabric. I'm gonna just go right next to it, just into the back fabric. And then without going all the way through, just so I'm going through the fabric part and maybe a little bit of the batting, I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna come up like maybe eighth of an inch to a quarter of an inch away through both the back and the binding or the sashing piece again. And that's gonna be my first stitch. So what's left is just a teensy little stitch right at the beginning there. I should have maybe gone through that spot again, but I think we'll be fine. That's gonna ultimately be sewn in the quilt. This is, we're in the seam allowance here once we sew the rows together. So again, just down and through the batting or through the back piece, and then coming up through the batting and the binding piece. And we're just gonna go all the way down the edge. So I have it folded over here just so it's easy for me to hold. But I definitely don't want to like sew through all these. So you just got to be like conscious of like, oh, I'm just trying to catch the top layer of fabric. It can feel a little tricky because there's all the quilting. Oh, this is so exciting. So it is 9:26, so I probably won't finish stitching this, but I think so we'll work on this tomorrow. It's Wednesday. So we'll work on this tomorrow and Friday. Still, it's our free week this week. Um So I think tomorrow we'll finish stitching this if we don't get it done in the next 4 minutes. And then I think let's do the other one right away. Let's just hand stitch that guy, and then we'll have like row 1 of this complete except for except for the corner pieces. We don't know what we're doing for that. So tomorrow we could just start assembling D through H. And I think before then I'll see what other stashing pieces I have, because like I said, we just cut like 1 inch pieces. I never like cross cut them to the right length, or some of them might be too short and we might have to sew some of them together. I'm just gonna see what I have. I think when we started this, we just started cutting pieces. Started cutting 1 inch strips. I didn't count them. I may or may not have enough, but we're just gonna use them as we go. It worked just fine. Oh yeah, Sheila says, "Thank you. Your explanation helped. You said that you cut it all out at the beginning of the project. Do you remember which session it was?" Hmm. Let's see. It would not have been in any of the ones where we I'm gonna have to look that up. That's a good question. Uh, it wouldn't have been one that had a letter in the title. Like, it wouldn't have been like stitching letter A. It would have been something that said like quilt prep or something in. I'm not positive. I'll have to look. But it's literally 10-inch pieces. And I do have, if you go to the ABC quilt section on the website, we do have this as a downloadable, like free downloadable thing. So this can help you know like how many pieces to make. And I think I have like instructions for all that. So if you go to that ABC stitch along page on the website, like it'll be in the pull down menu, just go of like the shop, go to ABC stitch along. It'll bring up a whole page. I think at the bottom of that, there's a link um, to like how much fabric and what size to cut things and all that. So I haven't looked at that in a little while, but yeah, so there should be a little mini blog post on what you need for all that stuff. All right, I'm gonna remove this little applique pin. Yeah, we're gonna keep stitching for a little. There. I'm gonna go to like here, I think. Normally I might just and any other night I probably would have just gone to the end of this row, but I'm just wondering if like I can't. Wondering if there's a baby update. That's what I'm wondering. I don't know if I can tell when I'm live if there's one. Hey, Nolene. But yeah, so we'll work on this project till the end of the week, and then it's October then, which means a new embroidery of the month. So you might want to grab the Raven yet. That was this embroidery of the month. Embroidery of the month. But yeah, so we'll get. It'll be October, so we'll start our embroideries again, the ABC. So we'll be continuing on this project really, but we'll be stitching the letter Q, which is the quail. So that's Monday's project. We'll start stitching the quail. I'm really, really happy that we got this going. We haven't started this process yet, and we've been working on this quilt for a while, so this is great. Sylvette's asking, are you using 50 weight thread doubled or quilting thread? Oh, I'm just using the 50 weight, just the 50 weight Aurifil, and I'm not even doubling it. I'm just using one strand. So yeah, I guess nothing special. You could use the quilting weight, or the quilting thread, but I don't know. I feel like I've done this with this thread for bindings and everything else, so I don't know. I think it works fine. It's the same thread that I quilted these pieces with, so the same color. I think I better just stop there. It's like killing me to leave that much, but again, I need to check to see if there's baby news. So All right, but look how cute this is. So again, this is the back so far, and here we are. It is looking so freaking adorable. Here, I'll flip you guys around now. All right, here. So here's what it looks like. It's our first little row starting to get together. Oh my god, it's so cute. I am so excited for this project. Yeah, we haven't done this putting it together here yet, so this is great. I feel like we've progressed to the next step, which is making me feel like we're finishing projects here, which is a nice feeling. So awesome. So thanks again, you guys. Be sure to check out that 40% off sale of kits that's going through tomorrow. And then also, if you ordered in this live or that 15 minutes or so after, $20 or more, I will throw in a free mystery gift and we'll be sending all those out tomorrow. So thanks again, everyone. And I better have some baby news tomorrow. So I'll let you know. All right. See you guys tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. See you then. Good night.